Erik ten Hag, as a manager, is creating quite a lot of conversation at the moment. There are a lot of people suggesting that Erik ten Hag is potentially out of his depth. I saw something that was very cutting about Erik ten Hag and his stewardship of Manchester United, saying that he wasn't getting the best out of certain players and that ultimately Manchester United could do better. Helping me explore this is the wonderful Ade Oladipo, who I believe is less than 500 subscribers away from the promised land.
Promised land of 50,000. It's big. It's a big number.
50,000 subs.
Big number.
Mate, so if anyone is watching this not yet subscribed to Ade's YouTube channel, let's help him get to 50,000 subs. We are less than 500 away, so let's really try and get there. Ade, I don't know if you saw, but there's been a lot said about Erik ten Hag recently, and the thing that I thought was really cutting was how it was being portrayed that a lot of the failings of certain Manchester United signings were his fault. Not getting the best out of Sancho, for example.
Yeah, I think I saw the same thing that you saw. I think it was Adrian Durham that said something about, well, he's not got the best out of Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
You know, whereas when we see Harry Maguire in an England shirt, let's be honest, the performances aren't that bad. Not great, but they're not that bad. Jadon Sancho hasn't got the best out of him. Marcus Rashford trying to find a position for him hasn't worked this season. I know it's early. Back end of last season, Rashford was great. And other players as well. But yeah, I think, I don't know, with Erik ten Hag, look, he's had money to spend. I think he spent, must be around 400 to 500 million at the club. So they backed him. They backed him for his players, the players that he wants, the players that he knows, Malacia or Anthony. He wanted Casemiro. He wanted all these players. He's got them. The new young striker, he wanted him. Højlund, obviously injured at the moment. So they backed him with money. Now it's a case of, okay, you've got to deliver.
Do you think that there's any truth in that kind of approach? It's Ten Hag's responsibility to get the best out of Mason Mount. It's Ten Hag's responsibility
Absolutely. I'm sorry, it is. And the best managers find a way to find another level with certain players. Your Peps, you look at the sort of players that he's had and how he's raised even world-class players to an even more elite level. I think it's fair to say Jurgen Klopp's done it. Even Arteta at Arsenal for the last couple of seasons, everyone seems to have gone up another notch. That's what Erik ten Hag has to do. As much as me and you have question marks over Jadon Sancho, this guy came over from Borussia Dortmund as one of the richest talents in European football for his age, and he's just stagnated, if not gone back. Erik ten Hag should be bringing out the best in Jadon Sancho. He should, and we need to see that. I mean, is Casemiro going to deliver this season, or was last season just a one-off? Yeah. These players need to go up another level.
What about in terms of the recruitment? Do you think that Erik ten Hag generally has got the recruitment right?
No, he's got it wrong.
Do you really think so?
Yeah, he's got a lot wrong. I think Anthony's the big one because he's probably cost the most, didn't he? I don't think that's worked. I mean, there are questions about the centre-backs. I mean, we all kind of lauded Martinez when he came in. Now it's like, it's kind of hit and miss. He always seems to be diving in. Every time I watch him, and look, I used to kind of admire it before, but then you speak to people that really talk about centre-backs. Rio Ferdinand always talks about it, and you don't go to ground all the time, but every time I see him, it feels like he's always getting to ground. Like it's almost like he's missed the steps. So I've got to go to ground. Casemiro, I like. Not a great start to the season, and then we have to wait and see how the rest perform.
See, where I think that the recruitment potentially has gone a little bit wrong isn't necessarily in the players that they've signed. Look, I think Anthony has been atrocious, really.
It's not great,
and I don't think that he's going to come good.
How much was he again?
Fortune.
Yeah, wasn't it?
Around
80 million, yeah, okay.
And I think they knew they overpaid for him. They knew that he was overpriced, and they did it anyway. Yeah. So no, I don't rate Anthony, but I do think that a lot of this criticism on Ten Hag is a little bit unfair. I think that a lot of the time last season he got it right. You've got to remember, context is key. He took over from Manchester United's worst ever manager. In my opinion, worst ever manager. Let's go Premier League era, because that's the era I know Manchester United, and I know for a fact that Ralph Rangnick was their worst ever manager. So he's had to come in and take over from that, which was shambolic. He got the club into the Champions League. They won a trophy, and a lot of what he did turned to gold. A lot of it was fairly impressive.
Agreed.
The one place that I will concede, the recruitment just doesn't... It's not that it's not good, it just doesn't feel like it's in keeping with the traditions of Manchester United. We grew up in an era...
What traditions?
So the traditions of Manchester United in the transfer market are the very best player from clubs where you know they're potentially going to sell.
Yeah, clubs just outside the top five.
Basically not Arsenal, Chelsea or Liverpool.
Yeah,
right?
Anything else though, taking your player.
It's theirs.
Yeah, remember like Villa, Dwight York.
Yeah, Villa, Dwight,
Spurs. Yeah.
Andy Cole, Newcastle, Wayne Rooney, Everton, whatever it is.
The best in class.
They're going. And the two players that have now moved this summer, so we know that they did have their price.
Yeah.
Declan Rice, Harry Kane. Two sensational players who would elevate Manchester United beyond recognition. We now know that they had their price. It could have been done. And Declan Rice, if you go back maybe 18 months, he was open to the idea of going to Manchester United. It felt like he was going to be going there. Ten Hag has come in. He could, I believe, have ushered that one through.
Agreed.
But Casemiro, it looked great last year. So who knows? And then Harry Kane, I know people will say Levy didn't want to sell to a rival or whatever. But we saw Harry Kane on a golf course with Gary Neville. And he was open to the idea of going to Manchester United, definitely. Manchester United of old, managers of Manchester United of old, get that deal done, one way or the other. And I think that the recruitment on that front has potentially been a little bit shoddy. What about now?
A stature of manager gets those jobs done, don't they?
Yeah.
A stature. Like as good as some Man United fans think Ten Hag is, he's below that top tier of managers where a manager calls you up, you listen to him because he's an elite manager. Like Ten Hag isn't that.
Not quite.
Do you know he's not quite
And also,
that.
I think as a manager, if you think about the recruitment, he likes what he likes. He likes who he knows. Like Onana, pre-existing relationship. Lisandro Martinez, pre-existing relationship. Anthony, pre-existing relationship. Even Mason Mount.
Malacia. Pre-existing
Even Mason
relationship,
Mount played at Vitesse.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
Even Mason Mount played at Vitesse.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
So there is like a lot to be said for his system, his style, and his way of doing it. But I just have found the criticism, and when you think about the criticism that have come their way, they limped to victory against Wolves. Gary O'Neill's Wolves on the first day, they limped to Old Trafford.
And they shouldn't have. Let's be honest, it should have been a penalty right at the end. And Nana cleared out two of their players. Totally. And it should have been the Stonewall penalty, so much so that the referee and the VAR, everyone got sort of demoted, didn't they, for a game. So it was clearly bad. Look, as much as I'm with you about the criticism maybe being a bit harsh, because you're right, he came into a sinking ship. That stops when you've been given $500 million to work with. Once you're given the money and you do get some success like he got last season, pressure's on now. It's not just him. Same with Arteta. Pressure's on. Okay, you've now got the money. You've got the players you wanted. You wanted a goalkeeper. We've got you arguably, some say the best in the world, one of the best in the world. You wanted a solid midfielder. We've got you Mason Mount. The battle to get him, we got him. And we might not have got the striker you wanted, but you wanted this Højlund kid. You wanted him. We gave you 70 million. We've backed you. You've got him. So he's been given money. That's a lot of money, Onana, Mason Mount, Højlund, that's a lot of money. Now what have you got to do with it?
Yeah, and the trouble is, I think they've got quite a nice team.
Yeah.
But it's clearly at least one rung down from three clubs. It's nowhere near as good as Arsenal, Man City, and in my opinion, Newcastle.
Yeah.
So even if he's done quite well in the transfer market, even if you are on board with signing Højlund over Kane or Rice over or Mount over Rice or whatever, even if you're on board with Ten Hag, surely you have to look at it and go, okay, he's spent a lot of money, he's been there a full season now. This team is not ready to compete. It's nowhere near ready to compete.
And that's the problem. They came third last season? Second?
They came third.
Third last season, obviously, apologies. They came third last season. You spent another 200 odd million, whatever it was, in the transfer market. You're going to come third again at best. That's maybe not good enough. And I think that's in jeopardy.
Newcastle look better than them.
Yeah, you certainly do.
Newcastle look better.
Yeah. And I think Liverpool will be okay as well, there or thereabouts. So, I just feel like there needs to be more from Ten Hag. The team looks imbalanced. Me and you openly maybe got it wrong a bit about that midfield because we looked at it on paper. And on paper, it looks really good. Casemiro sitting and Bruno kind of doing what he does and Mason Mount being the energy bunny. That imbalance is wrong.
It's so imbalanced.
It's so imbalanced.
But also, Mason Mount, do you know what I couldn't believe? I'm not a huge believer in stats. It's not that I don't rate the stats, I do. I just think that you need other information as well. But what I couldn't believe, and I think even the Mount detractors, even Chelsea fans who never really got Mount, the thing that even they would concede is that Mount, on a bad day, is involved.
Good shout.
He's involved. Yeah. He's lively, he's trying, he's pressing, and it might not be working for him.
But he's involved. He makes himself like, even if he's not getting the ball, you're going to hear him screaming, moving about, running.
Yeah. He's a thorn in the opposition side. He's there. It's busy. Perfect word. Yeah. He's busy. Do you know against Tottenham, he went worse. It was even worse than having a bad game because he didn't have a bad game. He had an inconsequential game. It's the worst thing you can say. Yeah. He wasn't bad. He was anonymous. He wasn't all over the place. I didn't realise he was there.
Yeah.
It was a totally... I'm ambivalent to his performance. And that, particularly at Tottenham, Mason Mount, like, I've seen him score against Tottenham. And he gets it. They would have been booing him. It means something. The fact that he was anonymous means that tactically something isn't right. Is he treading on Bruno Fernandes's toes? Is he happy with the relationship with Casemiro? Does he need more? It's all very well kind of pinpointing Mason Mount as being the problem.
Sometimes you're right. It's about relationships.
Yeah,
on that side, he's got Garnacho.
It's Garnacho. Look, it's not that is he good enough.
No, but he's got...
Was he good enough that day?
Is there an understanding between him and Garnacho? Probably not.
And Garnacho in front of you. Rashford, Garnacho and Anthony.
By the way, Garnacho, yeah... Not a slight dig at him because he's a kid and he's obviously done well to break into the team. Sometimes I'm watching him, I'm wondering if he's better off the bench than starting. Like me and you said, he's better than Sancho and he's got to start. And
Sancho
I get
looked
it.
Good when he come
Sancho
on.
looked good when he come on. So it's weird. It's almost like they both look good when they come on.
Yeah.
Neither look good when they start.
It's management, isn't it?
Yeah. So the midfield is imbalanced. The front three is all over the place. Anthony, Rashford doesn't like playing through the middle. I realise that now. And Garnacho on the left. And the back four,
Does he get it right, Ten Hag, this year? Is he the man to turn this around? I mean, they are in a slight blip. I was about to say they've had a dreadful start to the season, but they've actually had a better start to the season this year than they did last year.
They?
They had no points. Do you remember they got battered by Brighton and Brentford?
Oh yeah, bad start. Oh yes, when Ronaldo had a strop.
they got 3 points at least.
Yeah, Ronaldo had a strop in that one. I want to...
Does he get it right this year?
What's right though? What's right?
Okay, right. The definition of
Quarterfinal
right
Champions
is...
League, what, runs in the cups, what?
It has to be top four again. They have to secure top four again. They have to, because, since Fergie, they have played more games in the Europa League than the Champions League.
That's
which,
crazy.
by definition, by this very loose terminology and definition, that makes you a Europa League team. It doesn't make you a Champions League team. It makes you a Europa League team.
They are a Europa League team.
But if you qualify consistently for the Champions League, you then redefine yourself as a Champions League team.
Agreed.
He needs to do that. So top four or five, whatever's needed, just get into the Champions League.
You know what it is about him as well? And it's not, sometimes it isn't that he's a bad manager. There's some really good clubs in the Premier League now. Everyone's spending money.
He's
Everyone.
He is at the biggest club in the continent, arguably.
Yeah, arguably.
So,
you're right.
Discount Real Madrid. He's at the biggest club.
He's at the biggest club. The biggest club.
So he can't really use that one.
No, he doesn't get it right then. He doesn't get it right. That team looks too imbalanced. The defence looks shoddy.
And it's his recruitment.
I'm not quite sure about Anana. I think we've seen already that he can be a bit erratic. He comes out and does crazy things, and they're his players. So if he gets it wrong, it's him that's got it wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like if Pochettino gets it wrong, as an example, I don't think Poch is buying all these players.
No, not yet. You've got to give Pochettino the way that Ten Hag did. Pochettino gets a year.
He gets a year, exactly. Whereas Ten Hag, these are all your boys now.
Yeah.
You've
This
spent a
time
lot of money.
next year, we hold Pochettino to this standard.
Exactly.
Not this year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please do us a favour. Will you give it a like? Massively helps us out. And please let us know your thoughts in the comment below. Now, before you go, Ade is very, very close to 50,000 subscribers. Please help us get there. Click the link in the description below and subscribe to Ade Oladipo's YouTube channel. In a bit.